Let's get started.
Good morning.
You just look out the window the whole time?
Yeah, I guess. If you do it right, it takes all day.
But what do you actually look at?
That guy and wherever that thing is and the lady.
And that's entertaining?
No, but also yes.
Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. Holy cow! It started out yesterday. Take the car that you destroyed to the frickin' repair place, Riverbend Body Shop. And, you know, we talked about this yesterday. After, and I still feel like shit, after cracking up Diana's car, and I'm not kidding you, there have been so many times that I have done this. I remember one time in particular, we had this old Chevy Blazer. I mean, this enormous beast with like an 8,000 cubic inch motor in it. And, the babysitter showed up and for some reason was parked behind me. Kind of their fault, kind of her fault. But I didn't look behind me when I put it into gear. And man, did I fuck up her car. I mean, that hood was folded like a damn letter A. One of the many, many times that I have damaged vehicles. There was one time, Diana's not even aware of this, that we got, she had this Dodge, that the one I gave to Jim. We had just gotten the front bumper repaired. And it was parked behind the camper. I had the camper in the driveway, and I put the thing into gear, and bam! And I'm like, uh-oh. I mean, it's like hours old, the repair job. And I'm like, holy fuck. And I went back and looked at it, and there's this square mark. And I'm like, well, maybe she'll never know. And she never noticed. I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything.
You're such a big butt dick because I know you want to hear it.
And so I have done this time and time again. It has never, ever left me. I always just, I'm looking forward when I'm backing up the car. My God. Take that thing to the place in Riverbend Body Shop. And what's crazy is I walk in. They go, hey, are you here for the Civic? I go, no. Well, the insurance company reached out about the Civic. I go, what? I guess Jackie hit something in the road and filed a claim, and they approved it. So I've got like that one. And Jackie, you got to drop the car off. But it has nothing to do with this. I walk in, and I go, yeah, well, no, somebody's got to take a look. And they go, oh, that's a new one. I go, yeah, it's really new. And they go, well, what did you do? I go, well, the age of the vehicle does not matter. You remember that 07 Accord that I had, which I still have. It's now Madison's, which the thing is all tore to shit now. My God, had that one in the fleet for so long. It's just a big steaming pile of shit, this car. But I remember when I got that thing, I was like so proud of it. And I'm driving down the road fucking with the navigation unit on the thing. And sure enough, I drifted off of the road and smashed into the curb so hard I fucked it all up, man. The wheels like sideways. Oh, fuck. It's really one of the mysteries of the world that I could ever lecture anybody like Madison about driving ability. It is just so bad. So I take the thing over, and they go, "Oh, well, this is new." I go, "Yeah, I know it's new." Add that to the list of things you should not say to a guy who has just shown up here and needs your help, because I feel bad enough as it is. All right, takes a look at it. It's like I'm trying to talk him through it to like not be so bad. I go, "Yeah, so it's just the plastic here. You can just paint that real easy, right?" He goes, no, it doesn't quite work like that." I go, "What do you mean?" See, in my brain, he's just going to like tape it off and just it's going to cost like $30. He goes, No. That's not how this works." I go, "What do you mean?" He says, "The whole bumper comes off." I go, "You take the whole bumper off?" He goes, "Oh, yeah. That's the only way this gets done. You don't leave it on the car, okay? You know who leaves it on the car? Idiot who does it in his garage." I go, "Well, okay, but that's it." He goes, No. On the body, there's this little ding here, this little scratch. It's all the way down to the metal." I go, "Oh, you can just kind of like touch-up paint." He goes, "Do you want it to look good? Or do you want it to look like we use touch-up paint?" I go, and I thought to myself, don't even consider trying to go cheap on this, or you're dead. Megan with a great point. It's cute when people tell the experts how to do their jobs. You're absolutely right. So I'm sitting there trying to talk this legend in body shop work about what to do. And he goes, no, you want this painted. I go, okay, so yeah, but he goes, oh, no. The windows have to come out, and we have to do, it's like a third. You wouldn't believe, once they get your car into the back, the amount of effort that it takes to make it look like the day you bought it. That's the ultimate goal. But I'm trying to seriously, can't you just, and he's like, Eric, stop. By the way, one point I had these people at Riverbend print off all of the work orders that I've had them do for me since 2007. You know how like when you buy copy paper for a printer, it's like that thick. It's thicker than that, actually. And I go, oh, okay, yeah. And then I go, hey, while you're at it, because believe it or not, there are a couple little spots where paint is scratched on this thing. It's not even 6 months old. Like road rocks hit the front end. Things that I didn't actually do, except for the time when I was washing it and the metal spray gun bounced off the car. There is a scratch for me there. I haven't told Diana about that one yet. But I am getting that one repaired. I go, can you go around and take care of all these little scratches? They go, yep, no problem. So I point them all out individually. He takes pictures. I go, yeah, okay, so this is probably going to cost, what do you think, maybe $45 or $50? You know, I'm thinking to myself, this is a minimum $1,200 endeavor. Money well spent. But man, son of a bitch. I see Kent drop the E, add a U in here. He has reached out to Joe Martinez Joe Martinez is, I guess, installing a new furnace and AC unit. And he says, yeah, I'm just telling Joe's guy how to install my furnace and AC right now. Yeah. Uh-huh. Fuck, man. You don't want to do that. Tell the experts how it gets done. That's kind of like you dumbasses telling me how to podcast. I mean, come on. Joe is in here himself while his crew is working. He's probably in Mexico again. Says, I get this all the time where the homeowner tries to tell the person who does what they do for a living how to do their job. First time chat from one Giant Spiders. I don't know. I suggest just putting your actual name, but whatever. So welcome in. Hang on. A little bit of that coffee swig went down the wrong pipe. That's not great. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures from the Baldwin Ace Hardware Fear Bunker studio. Hang on. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Each and every day of the work week for, like, you know, I think this is something like the 870th time we have sat down to do this free podcast, coupled with the same number of Patreon bonus podcasts. Thousands of podcasts under my belt. Thank you so much for being part of it. I do it each and every day of the work week right here, and thank you. I failed to promote that I have Dear Meathead with my beloved 88-year-old father a little bit later on. In 45 minutes, I have two questions. Let's see. In fact, in case people are watching right now, Jesse and Nathan have questions. And if you have sent one and you're like, well, he hasn't read it yet, and you didn't hear me just say your name, resend it. That means I've lost it. Okay? Subject line, Meathead. If you're like, uh-oh, he might not have that question, resend it right now, and then I'll have it for Dad, who I called him yesterday, and first of all, in case you don't know the dynamic of the family, my mother had 2 children before she married my dad from another dude named Arthur, who she was married to. Terribly sad story. My mother in the 1950s or 60s or whatever, young mom living in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, literally across the street from her mother, my grandmother, Irene. My mom gives birth to my brother Mike, regular Mike. When regular Mike is 2, my mom is pregnant with push-up Paul. Married to a guy named Art Young, living across the street from her mom. Art Young loses his mind. Legit. It's not just like hyperbole. He went out for milk and never came home. Deserts the family. He was pushed to the brink. I don't know what led to it. Never to be seen again. So my mom gives birth to push-up Paul. She's alone. Very sad. Years later, she meets my dad. At that time, also divorced. In his former marriage, he had Norman Bummer. So these two get together, pork, and they get married. So now there's 3 boys. Push-up Paul, regular Mike, and Norman Bummer. They have 2 kids, Jim and Eric. I'm the last of 5 between these two knuckleheads. My dad adopts regular Mike and push-up Paul. Then he beats the shit out of him. Like, I mean, that back then, that's what you did. We're talking about the 60s and 70s. If you're a father of kids that you've adopted, when those children come up to you and say, I love you, that's when you punch them in the face. And that's what my dad did. Okay? And you're like, what? Huh? Your dad was cruel? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a dick to those kids. And now here's the problem. To this day, my sweet dad is like, I never did that. And Mike and Paul are like, oh, yeah, you did. And so when they became like 16, 17, 18, then they're like, hey, wait, we don't have to take this shit anymore. So they kind of like have a real bone to pick with my father. Also, Dad never really laid a hand on Jim and Eric. So they didn't like that. They're like, what the fuck, man? We get the shit kicked out of us. And you two idiots don't. So that was a little weird. But so there's that. But now, so now that they're all obviously, well, my dad's 88, my regular Mike's 63. Wait a minute, 64. Push-up Paul's 62. Push-up Paul still is kind of still estranged from my dad. Mike, regular Mike, talks to my dad. He goes over there. He doesn't call him dad, though, even though they are his adopted kids. Doesn't call him dad. But they're pretty tight, despite all the nonsense. Well, regular Mike, his beloved wife, is very ill. I talked to you about my sister-in-law, Sherry, is starting chemotherapy treatment because colon cancer. So my dad, he calls me the other day, goes, have you talked to Michael? I go, Mike Z? Yes. Well, I do talk to him. You must call. He is down. He's got the blues. I go, well, that's understandable. His wife is very ill. You must call and you must talk to him. I go, you got it. I'm hanging up with you. Calling him right now. Call him up. Talk to him for extended time. Great conversation. Outlook is good. Thank God my sister-in-law, it's labeled as stage 3 cancer. You know, you don't want to hear 4. 4 means, you know, this is going to take your life. 5 means you're going to die in like seconds. I don't think there's a stage 6. Talking to Mike. Nice conversation. Get him laughing a little bit. That's that. I go, all right. Chain of command. My dad told me to do this. I called him. We're all good. Called Dad yesterday. I like to call him the day before Dear Meathead. Say, hey, Dad. You know, just talk to him. See what's up. And I go, hey, I called Mike. Mike who? I go, you told me to call Mike because he's down in the dumps. You know, I give him the whole background. He's got dementia. And he goes, Mike Stong? I go, no, Mike Z. Your son, my brother. He goes, why'd I tell you to call him? I go, well, you were very concerned because his wife has cancer and he it's wearing on his brain emotionally and mentally. So you told me to call him and cheer him up. Oh, Mike! In the back of my mind, I go, dementia is the most hilarious yet sad, horrible disease on the planet. It's outrageous. And I hear Joanne laughing in the background. It's just like, holy fuck. Man. Anyway, Dear Meathead, with my beloved 88-year-old father, happens now in 37 minutes. Brought to you by Baldwin Ace Hardware with the question of the day from J.M. Synthetics. Okay? Trump rules in Michigan. Oh, my God. Okay, so, if you're in the state of Michigan, you might be aware of what's going on. For sure you are if you're been following at least the gubernatorial campaigns. You have Whitmer, which one half of the state, maybe more, hates the incumbent, who is going to take on a Republican. There were 5 Republicans vying for the position. Tudor Dixon and a bunch of losers. Dixon is running on the platform of Trump lost because of election, whatever. I don't want to put words in her mouth. Tudor Dixon wiki. Well, she won as predicted. As I told you she was going to win. Political positions. Following Biden's victory, Dixon says Trump, who'd won the election, and that fraud was rampant. So around here, the stupid people that live around here, they love that. And they love that a hot Republican is telling them that. So they're like, they eat all that shit up. By the end of July 2022, days ago, Dixon left unanswered questions as to whether she still believed Trump had won the presidential election. She's gutless. Now, she doesn't believe that. She's lying to you all. She's just telling you that so that you get so that she gets elected, because you're all super dumb. Make no mistake. You are dumb, brainwashed people who believe that. There's no escaping it. And I love you despite the fact that you're that stupid. That's okay that you're that dumb. But you're dumb. Dixon supports a total ban on abortion. No exceptions. So if you are, in your home and some crazy guy who bales hay for a living snatches your child, your 12-year-old child, while she's riding a bike and rapes your 12-year-old little girl and gets her pregnant, if I'm a father, that abortion is going to happen right away. I'm like, my God, I'll reach in there and get it myself, for fuck's sake, to keep that from happening. But Dixon says no exceptions. No exceptions for incest or rape. Does, however, say, an exception in case the child bear, the mother to be's life is in danger. So that's crazy to me. Her logic is, okay, one exception if the mother to be's life is in danger, but if you have an 11-year-old girl who is raped by the local lunatic, that is not okay. Asked whether it should be illegal for a 14-year-old girl to abort a pregnancy caused by incest, Dixon said, "A life is a life for me," and affirmed that. So she's crazy. She is a sick, sick bitch. Okay? She won. She now is taking on Whitmer, who is just stockpiling money. She has a ton of cash ready to go for this next election, which I guess is November. Michigan How do you spell that? Gubernatorial election 2022. November 8th, of course. So, all right, the stage is set. Either way, we'll be seeing a lot of beautiful women. I have told you guys many times how stunningly beautiful the multi-talented Gretchen Whitmer is. And you all sit there and make fun of me. And I don't know why you do that. But she's a stone-cold knockout. So is Dixon. Dixon, though, we do not want Dixon to win, okay? We will go back to the Trump era if she wins. So make sure when it comes to November, you do not vote for this psychopath. Trump rules. Like I said, Trump is the one who endorsed Tudor Dixon. So these other losers, they wanted Trump's endorsement. They did not get it, okay? So they lose. And thank God, because the only thing worse than Tudor Dixon is a dude who thinks like Tudor Dixon. All right? Anyway, speaking of Trump, all right, he has fucked up everything for Peter Meyer. Now, this is sad to me. This is really, really sad because I live in such a brainwashed community full of these MAGA pieces of shit. This is the way this unfolds. Peter Meyer, who has one of the richest people on the planet, all the money in the world, and Trump has more sway than that because Meyer was one of these Republicans, though a Republican, condemned Trump over January 6th, voted to impeach, and essentially turned on Trump. And for some reason, we all know Trump's grip on these brainwashed morons is very, very strong. So all Trump had to do, and this is for the House of Representatives, member of Congress, Meyer took over the seat that was originally held by Justin Amash, and he's only there for a couple of years. So he's the incumbent, and this dude, John Gibbs, gets the endorsement from Trump. And that's all it took. He won narrowly over Meyer. So he is now, well, that's the thing, though. It doesn't mean it's his seat. He now will take on a Democrat, which he will win, this John Gibbs, coming up in November. So that is unbelievable. Meyer is out. It was only days into his term when the insurrection took place. So all this guy did, Meyer, was the right thing and said, absolutely impeach this idiot. And now he's out because of the West Michigan voters. And you know what else is incredible? John Gibbs is black. So Trump has sway over racism somehow. Because the idiot white bigots where I live would love nothing better than to have no black people live here. But yet, all the black guy has to do is say, I love Trump. And they go, well, we love you too, even though you're black. My God. Sam the Jew, concerning the governor's race, informs me that both Ryan Kelly and Kevin Rinke are not yet conceding. Well, of course not. That's the thing to do. When you're losing, say that it was cheating or some shit. That's what's going to happen. All right. A little bit more on this. More on the Meyer thing with John Gibbs. Okay, this is the local story. Peter Meyer concedes to John Gibbs in primary.
A projected winner this morning in Michigan's 3rd congressional district primary. That race was too close to call when you went to bed last night.
Freshman Congressman Peter Meyer has lost his seat to Trump-backed challenger John Gibbs.
We saw a surge of votes for Gibbs as that counting continued.
Imagine if Trump was like, even though he's black, I want you to vote for John Gibbs.
Into the night and into this morning. So here's where the results stand.
Look at that. It's close.
2% for John Gibbs.
Oh, boy.
8% for Peter Meyer. We have all of the results in. Gibbs beat Meyer by close to 9 points in Ottawa County and by 7 points.
That's my county. Completely. I am surrounded by assholes.
In Muskegon County.
Now, tabulators in Kent County finished counting all the ballots early this morning, but overnight, Meyer called Gibbs to concede the race.
And Gabrielle Pfeiffer joins us live now in Grand Rapids.
Look at her hair. It is magnificent. Gabrielle Pfeiffer's hair is just, it looks like it takes 5 hours to make it look like that.
With his reaction. Gabrielle.
Well, you know, there was a lot of interest in this race, one that Gibbs says he has been confident about since the very start of it all. So he's feeling pretty great this morning. He did mention that he did hear from Meyer, who he said, you know, who told him that he congratulated him on.
I think Gabrielle's a little sleepy here.
On this race. And, you know, he mentioned to me that, or he mentioned to us,
Jesus.
Gibbs, that
Get it together, Gabrielle.
And going door to door trying to get voters to support him. And he mentioned that a lot of voters did not really approve of him, of Peter Meyer voting to impeach President Donald Trump. Now, we know that Peter Meyer also put in a lot of money to this. And so Gibbs said that money did not win this race. Here's more of what he had to say about that.
So I really think this is an earthquake. If you
Nice pipes.
look at the amount of money that was spent relative to the amount of money we spent, it's huge differentials, very asymmetric. So I think this is something that will send shockwaves in a good way throughout the nation, and something that will empower regular people to know that you know, they can stand up and make change when necessary.
Meyer formally conceded the race around 1:30 this morning, publicly releasing a statement that read in part, "I'm proud to have remained true to my principles, even when doing so came at a significant political cost, and I believe our community and our values are worth fighting for, though this was not..."
Yeah, that doesn't matter here in this backwards part of America.
The outcome we hoped for. I will continue to do everything possible to move the Republican Party, West Michigan, and our country in a positive direction. Now, former President Trump called Gibbs last night to congratulate him. Again, as I said, Peter Meyer also reached out, congratulating him as well and offering him support and advice. Now, Gibbs will face Democrat Hillary Skolton in the general election coming up in November.
This may be the least prepared reporter I have ever seen. It was a horrible job by her. The whole thing was fucked. Why? I mean, Jesus, you sound like me. That's not a good thing. Adam writes, good for Meyer for standing up to his party. Absolutely true. I've always liked that side of him. I didn't really get into the whole bragging about being sued by the ACLU for preventing a drag show that exploits the vulnerable, as he said. It's like, are you kidding me? Drag syndrome is fantastic. Linda says, screw both of them. First time chat from someone speaking another language. Welcome. The fuck is that? Okay. So that's basically it. The stage is set for November. Corey says that's Russian. Yeah, hey, you Russian fuck. It's a Russian spy. All right. Jeez. We are 23 minutes away from Dear Meathead. Thank you to my audience on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for being part of this portion of the intro of the show. The rest of it is on Twitch. I'm going to send you off. You must sign up on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Create your fancy username. And that way, whenever I go live, you will see that and you won't be interrupted because you're following on Twitch. That's where you get the show uninterrupted each and every day. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are just a little piece of the show. So thank you so much to that audience on those platforms. And as always, this becomes the audio podcast in its entirety. You can download it shortly after the show finishes and listen whenever you want. Just search Eric Zane Show wherever you download podcasts. Thank you, thank you, thank you.